All right, so I am locking up my first max loss red day for 2024. Such a bummer. Totally avoidable. And this is the thing with trading is like your success or failure is going to come down to your ability to be disciplined and to follow your rules. And today I kind of started to spiral. So I'll walk you back to sort of the beginning of the day, and then we'll get into the charts and we'll look at the trades and everything else. So the day started, I looked at my scanner at like 6:30 in the morning, and the biggest gapper was like 15%. I mean, there was nothing on the gap scan. 7 a.m., it wasn't much better, 18-20%. Going into the open, our leading gapper was 28%. I mean, this was really bad. So from the gap scan perspective, there was nothing with volume, there was nothing with momentum, and it is pathetic that I am red this much on a day like today that did not even close have the potential to give me $6,000 or $10,000 or $15,000 of profit. This is a rookie mistake. All right, well, we can learn from rookie mistakes. And even people like myself who have been trading for a long time, we're not totally immune to making these mistakes. So my first trades, I made about $350. It was a small winner. We had a stock that started to squeeze up, and I kind of felt like, oh, I don't know, I'm sort of chasing it, but I jumped in, and it ended up going quite a bit higher, but I had small size. So $300 was my first trade. Second trade, I lost about $50 or $60. Third trade, I made $55. So I'm 3 trades in. We're coming into the open, and there is nothing, you know what I mean? Like, clearly this is not a hot day because I haven't had any good winners. So that by itself should have been my cue just to say, like, listen, let's just walk away. Like, who cares if it's 9:45 or whatever? Just there's nothing moving. Let's just walk away. But no, I kept trading. I stayed. And Roma, Chinese IPO, got me again. This has gotten me 2 or 3 times. So this stock is such garbage. Anyways, I get in it, and it pops up, and then it halts down hard. It just does a nasty rejection. It drops. There was a bounce off the low, which I made a little bit on. Or actually, I don't know if I made anything on that. But anyways, there was a bounce off the low. But regardless, I was right on the trade. $1,200. Okay, so now I'm down 800 on the day, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to call it a day here. Smart move. Hey, let's keep the losses small, right? $800 is no big deal. And this is where things got bad. So then at that moment, DWAC hits my scanner, and it's moving. And I'm like, whoa, okay, look at that. So it was squeezing up, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to punch it. I bought 1,000 shares. It goes up another 20 cents or so. I buy another 1,000 shares. And I'm like, all right, this is moving up. And then all of a sudden, the spread opens up to like 50 cents a share. And I'm down $1,000 on the bid. And I'm like, oh my God. Unbelievable. What is going on? Try to put an order on the offer. Can't get filled. The spread is huge. It dips another 20 cents. And I'm like, well, so I got to sell. I got to bail out. I got to cut the loss. So I stop out of that. I lose like 1,500 on it. So now I'm down 2,300 on the day. Then and I kid you not, it goes like another 10 cents lower, and then it curls right back up to my entry and goes up another nearly $1 a share. And I was like, unbelievable. What do? I got back in. Frustration. I just was like, it's just that moment of like, you know what? Screw this. Buy. And this time I bought 2,000 shares, and then I doubled to 4,000 shares. And then it drops $1 a share again, basically the same as it had done before. And I lost, 3,500 on that trade, and now I'm down 6,000 on the day, max loss. It's really unacceptable. I mean, I'm being hard on myself, but I feel like it's unacceptable to lose that much on a day that was this slow. Today had all the writing on the wall to be slow, and I pushed it, right? So dumb. The days you want to push it are the days when things are hot. And now when we get a hot day, instead of being $6,000 of profit, it's just gonna be digging me out of the hole from being an idiot on a day like today. So that's never fun. It's disappointing. It's frustrating. So let's look at the charts. All right. So that's how my day unfolded. Sitting down $6,000. up 300 on BFRG, 55 on PTPI, down 60 on ZVSA, down 1,200 on Roma, the Chinese stock, and down 5,000 on DWAC. This is just stupid. It's very stupid. I could be still holding. I could have given into ultimate frustration and just say, you know what, I'm going to keep holding, and I'm going to keep adding. And I'm glad I didn't do that. But we'll look at DWAC first. So, it's just, the thing is, DWAC is a real piece of garbage. And I'm not saying that just because I'm red on it. So 381 goes up to 2381. So right now I've got an 18-cent spread, 17-cent spread. A seller right underneath the whole dollar of 24, right? It's right at VWAP. It's probably going to flush and break through. So first of all, should I have even been trading the stock? No. Why? Well, number one, it's not even up 10% on the day. So it's really not up that much. I got sucked into a trade that was, it was the shiny object syndrome. It was moving. I felt a bit of desperation to recoup my loss. I thought, oh, $20 stock. You know what? I could probably get 50 cents a share on this. Probably make $1,000. Now I'm trading my P&L, not the market. Right? So all of a sudden you start to get into a little bit of tunnel vision. And so I took my first trade on it. It was actually right here that I took my first trade. Red doji, which is usually a reversal indicator, and then it goes higher. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to get in. So I got in at 24 and I added at 24.50. Approximately 24.49, and then it drops down here to 23.50. So I lose, 70 cents a share, whatever it was, on 2,000 shares. Then it comes right back up, and I'm like, oh my god. So now, as it comes back up to 25, I had 2,000 shares at 25, and another 2,000 at like 25.50. It goes to 25.70, 25.80. I'm green on the trade for a moment, and then it flushes down to here. It comes back up and I'm still holding. And at this point, I'm like, okay, please. I'm like, if this thing goes through 26, I promise I'll vote for Trump. and then it comes back down here to 24 and I'm like, God damn it. So anyways, stopped out and that's that. But, it's just kind of emotional trading. I got frustrated and, I don't know what to say other than that. I got frustrated. The loss on Roma, just, anyways, it's a day where you're like, take 3 trades, and you're only up $250, 3 break-even trades, and then you get this one trade, and now you're red on the day. It's like, I had 4 steps forward, and now I'm down 800 on the day. And then you see something starting to rip, and of course, DWAC is a former Momo stock. So anyways, I jump in, fall into the trap, and there's just not liquidity on it. The spreads are terrible. Getting in and out with 4,000 shares, obviously I got slippage. So just a stupid trade. And, $6,000 is a lot to lose in a cold market, right? It's going to take a while to make that back. Yesterday I was up 3,400. So now I'm down 2,500 on the week. And for a moment there, when I was down 800 or whatever it was, I was like, listen, you're still green on the week. Like, who cares? Right? Well, only for a second, and then one trade on DWAC screwed that up. So let's look at BFRG first. This was my first trade of the day. So this stock, oh my gosh, look at this. Look at that. It's so typical. Breaking out of this consolidation that we get these traps. So typical. So BFRG, I bought this as it started to pull away right here. And, it was early. News came out and I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. I got in on what was a 10-second pullback at 35 right here. I got a little slippage on my entry. Ends up going up to 54 and then pops up to 90. I took my profit off the table. Some sellers came in. Anyways, they walked it back down and I didn't get back in. I was just like, nah, I'm good on that. So that was BFRG, $366. Nothing exciting. Next trade was ZVSA. So ZVSA hits the scanner and was the leading gainer for a few minutes there. I jumped in as it broke over $1. Ends up, actually, sorry, on this, where was it? It breaks over $1. I got a couple trades on this. I also traded in the small account, but I'm not going to go over that in this episode. So micro pullback right here at $1.11. Another micro pullback here at $1.18. I did the one at $1.18. Anyways, It didn't really hold up. So took a loss on that, 60 bucks. And then Roma comes up on the scanner. First, it pops up here to 474. And I was like, no, I don't trust it. I'm not going to trade this. This is too choppy. Drops down and then it rips up and it halts up. And I was like, man, all right. So on resumption, I was like, okay, well, you know what? Let's see. Maybe I could do a dip and a rip. So on resumption, I get in like right here for the break over 511. It comes up to 511 right here and it can't break. So there's like a hidden seller. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get out. So I got out into this red candle. Then it halts down. It opens lower. And I tried to do a dip. Was it right? I did a dip in this area here. And, you know, it did curl up a little bit, but nothing really that exciting. Anyways, just a garbage trade. I mean, just terrible price action. But, you know, look, this is right now, it's slow. So one of the things that I'll say is that in my experience, about 80% of my profit of the year will come from 20% of the trading days. The problem is that requires the discipline to be patient 80% of the time, more or less. And today's a day where I wasn't patient. That was the problem. I wasn't patient. I got frustrated that the market was so slow. I just got annoyed. I let my emotions get the best of me. And then next thing you know, I'm punching the order for 4,000 shares of DWAC. It's a $25 stock, and I lose nearly $1 a share on it. It can happen so fast. You know, this is the thing, I suppose, with trading is that it's important to set intentions. It's important to keep this stuff as much as you can in the front of your mind, but it's also important to forgive yourself and to be resilient and get back on the horse because you will fall down. You will have losses. In fact, if you are not falling down, you're not pushing yourself hard enough. You have to take risk, right? Trading, look, you're never going to take a loss if you're investing in treasuries. Well, as long as you hold them until their maturity. So like, if you really never want to lose, then you're going to have to bring your, you know, potential profit way, 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 way down. So if you want the potential profit, you've got to take the risk. And today's a day where, you know, yeah, I took the risk, but I also, you know, I made some mistakes in the heightened emotional state that happens when you're trading. And I have to let myself, you know, forgive myself for that at a certain point and be like, you know what? I'm grateful that you stopped where you did. I'm grateful you stopped at a $6,000 loss and didn't go down to 12 or 15 or 20, right? Could have been worse. And that by itself is maybe the only victory I have today, but that is a victory because in the past, I've had days where I spiraled and it got really, really bad. So knowing at some point that, okay, at this point, I really have to throw in the towel, it's good to have that line in the sand. I just wish I had done it when I was down 800. Like I kind of said I was going to. And then, well, you know, next thing you know, I took a couple more trades. So anyways, yeah, I'm certainly disappointed. It's not that fun to have a red day like this, but I have to just be really disciplined in the upcoming days. Now the thing is my fuse is going to be shorter tomorrow, right? If tomorrow my first trade is red, I'm going to immediately be like grinding my teeth. I'm going to be really frustrated. So, you know, because I don't want to capitulate. I don't want to, you know, have a multi-day red streak. It's early in the year. I want to build my cushion. Come on, let's get things going. But we're in a cold cycle right now. This is probably the coldest January I've seen in maybe years. And not for any particular reason. I mean, it's the luck of the draw, but it is cold. Some penny stocks have been in play. PHUN yesterday, you know, whatever, MIMO today. But I'm not a penny stock trader. For one thing, I do not, it costs me so much in commissions to trade at this price range. I would spend thousands of dollars in commissions because the broker that I use does charge commissions. These are great stocks for people who are with TD Ameritrade and Robinhood, whatever. And right now they are popular. This is what people are focused on. So, you know, that's what's got the attention. Roma, just horrible. And you know what? So ELAG from yesterday. No, what now? No. I forget the tickers so quickly. Anyways, I guess it doesn't matter. But the one from yesterday, I thought it was ELAG, but I think obviously it's not. The one from yesterday was so bad. It hit a 52-week high and then it hit a 52-week low in one day. That is pretty crazy. So yes, we're in a cold cycle and you just got to try to keep your head up. So I guess big picture is, green on the month, green last week, down 2,500 on the week right now. Still, we've got 2 days left. So I suppose at this point, if I can close the week flat, that would be a monetary goal. But more important than that, because that can get me fixated on the money, is if I can stop the spiral. So I just had basically, 3 red trades in a row, 2 of which were spiraling trades. The Roma trade, whatever, that's just a loss. It happens. But then the two trades on DWAC, terrible. Spiraling trades, emotional, bad. So I need to begin tomorrow with, sort of turning around, at least from the emotional perspective of taking good quality setups. It's tough, man. I mean, trading is hard. I've been doing this for a long time. And although it's easier for me now than it was when I got started, it doesn't mean it's easy. It's still difficult. It just challenges you in a different way as you gain more experience. Some of it is expectations. You have a stretch of doing really well, years, months, whatever it is. And then when things get slow, you are holding yourself to this really high standard, which is maybe difficult to achieve, and you beat yourself up, or there's just the type of emotions that you deal with as a seasoned, experienced trader are different, but the emotional pressure is still there. And so ultimately, what's your coping skill for dealing with this kind of emotional pressure? Mine has not been great, I guess, in some ways. I don't know. I'm going to be hard on myself today because it's a red day. I'm always hard on myself on a red day. So, I would feel like mine isn't as good as it could be because I still have days like today, even after trading for as long as I've been trading, more than a decade. But then on the other hand, I have to remind myself that, look, this is part of the deal. Everyone has days like today. It's important to acknowledge them. It's important. And these recaps hold me accountable because now I'm talking about it. So it makes me very aware of what I just did. So in the moment right now, at this moment, I'm no longer in the emotional spiral. I've kind of brought back the logic and I'm like, yep, that was stupid. Whoa, okay. Well, what was I doing back there? That was wild. Which is important because you've got to sort of snap out of that tunnel vision. So, this is part of the process for me. Doing these recaps kind of helps me compartmentalize, like, okay, that was what happened. All right, put that aside. Now, new day. This is the new focus tomorrow. Consistency, high quality setups, be patient, and do some meditation just to really breathe on being patient. It's okay to take no trades tomorrow. It's okay if the market is slow for a couple more days or another week. It's fine. It doesn't matter, because when it is hot, and it will get hot, when we have the day where we have a stock that's going up 300, 400, 500%, and it's within my price range, that's the day I need to dig deep. That's the day I need to really lean in. That's going to be the 20%, right? That's the day that's going to contribute possibly my whole month of profit. And all the other days in between are just kind of like chipping away, chipping away, chipping away. Something that I think is interesting with short sellers, especially the short sellers that are shorting every pop, and especially short sellers who are averaging. That's a strategy where you keep adding, and then you get the reversal. You keep adding, and then you get the reversal. I feel like that's something that works more like the 80% of the time. And then it's the 20% of the time where you have the stock that goes, higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. And so what I often see in terms of the equity curve of those short sellers is like steady progress and then huge drop. Steady progress and then huge drop. And, if they're good, they're still net positive in spite of those drops. I guess my P&L tends to be a little bit more kind of like slow, a slower ascension, just sort of slow, like, up and then down, up and then down, up and then down, and then boom, big green day. And then I try to hold the level of that big green day. And then it's again, base hit, green day. Base hit, base hit, base hit, base hit, big green day. So it's a little bit different, But for me, in terms of managing risk and preventing the black swan event of shorting a stock and it going up to 500 and losing, everything that I've made, I obviously prefer to trade to the long side, even if it means sometimes I'm making a little bit less money. That's the thing with risk tolerance. If your risk tolerance is lower, you'll make less money. And mine's a little bit lower. And it's lower than it used to be because I have now made money. When you're at the beginning of your career, and I see this sometimes with brand new traders, there's a bit of like, I've got nothing to lose. Like there's a little bit more gunslinging and taking YOLO high risk trades, maybe to prove themselves, or just like, hey, if this works, like I'm good. But then once you've achieved a lot, once you've made $10 million, like I have trading, and as always, my results are not typical, then you start to sort of change your risk appetite. Now it's like, okay, I'm not going to roll the whole 10 million into a trade and be the guy who made 10 million and then went back to zero. Some people would do that and be like, hey, I don't care if I go back to zero. Maybe I'll go to 100 million. But I'm not that kind of person. So, for me, as I've gained more experience and as my account has grown and as I've gained wealth, my risk tolerance has gotten lower and lower and lower. Now, I still day trade every day, but, my tolerance to trade some of the highest risk stocks or to short stocks has just gone down. And to clarify for a moment, someone said yesterday, Ross, you're trading in a retirement account, but in 401k accounts, when you take the money out at retirement, you pay income tax on it. And that's correct. But I'm not trading on a 401k. I'm trading in a Roth IRA. So when I started my small account challenge in 2017, I started with $583.15, I think it was. And then I grew that account in the first year to $335,000. And I took $6,000 of that and I deposited it into a traditional IRA. And then the next year, I did another $6,000 contribution from 2018 profit. And then in 2019, I did another $6,000 contribution. So I contributed a total of $18,000 into traditional IRA. Then I converted it from a traditional IRA to a Roth IRA. When I converted it, I had to pay income tax on $18,000, whatever. That's called tax the seed, not the tree. I paid my tax on the $18,000. And now, because it's in a Roth IRA, everything that grows from that account is growing tax-free because it's in the Roth IRA. But the withdrawals at retirement age are also tax-free. Now, it's possible that I'll be forced to make withdrawals and they'll change the rules. There have been, some talk about changing the rules with IRAs and, not allowing people to accumulate tens of millions or hundreds of millions or billions of dollars, which some people have actually done in a Roth IRA. But, so maybe they'll change the rules and prevent some stuff with that in the future. But nonetheless, I have all that money in my Roth IRA, but I only have about $100,000 in the Roth IRA that I use for day trading. So my day trading account is small, and the rest of the money I put into the market long term. Now I could do other things with it. I could buy real estate. You could invest in businesses. This fellow, I can't remember his name, Peter or something, or maybe someone else. Anyways, he was an investor in Facebook, and he invested in his Roth IRA, and that's how he accumulated like a $4 billion Roth IRA. So, you could invest in startups and things like that. Anyways, this is a tangent, but just to mention it for others that may have been confused, because I saw that comment and I've seen it from other people who are like, wait, I don't get how it's tax-free. How's that work? And doesn't that mean you can't take the money out right now? And it does mean I can't take the money out right now unless I'm willing to pay a penalty and income tax on it. Now, right now, my income tax bracket is high because I have been making a lot of money. I make money on YouTube, not a lot, but I make a little bit. I make money from my book. By the way, if you haven't checked it out, you're welcome to. It's a bestseller on Amazon. Again, not a lot, but a little bit. Make some money on that. And I make some money at Warrior, right? So, I do all these different things and I earn a little bit of money from these things, and that's great. The thing that I think is really incredible about trading is you can work full-time trading and all of that profit can be in a retirement account tax-free. When I write a book, there's no way to make this income tax-free. When I, have YouTube ads, there's no way to make that income tax-free. It's not possible. I own some real estate and I have rental income that comes in from that. you have some offsets with depreciation and things like that, which is great. And we use that. But aside from that, you can't really make it entirely tax free. But trading profit, you can. So I love trading as essentially like almost as a side hustle, even though it's been my full-time thing, almost as a side hustle because I don't spend the money that I'm making from trading. Now, that's not true for the small account. The small account is a taxable account, but for my main account, all of that profit just gets tucked away for later. So it is essentially my retirement plan in a way. And then, if at some point I feel like, oh, I really need some money from that account, then my assumption is that at that point, my income bracket will be lower. So if I have to pay the 10% penalty, not great, and pay income tax, also not great. But if my income bracket is lower, it won't be the end of the world. So that was kind of my thinking with it. There were a couple of years where early on I was trading just in my taxable account because my IRA was too small. And then I got to a point where I was doing like half and half. And, one of those years I owed millions of dollars in income tax. And I was like, oh my God, this is insane. It's crazy. You know what? And I was like, this is just ridiculous. It just doesn't make sense. So I'm making the decision to live a little bit more frugally right now so I can save more aggressively for later. And my belief is that, and I know this, that will pay dividends. And here's a kind of cool thing. So my son, actually both my kids, got $100 bill in a Christmas card this year from their great aunt. And so that was very nice. And, $100 for little kids is a lot of money. Anyways. And my son says, let's put it in the bank so it grows. I was like, yes. I love that. He's like, if we put it in this bank, then there'll be more later, right? I was like, that's exactly right. Now, of course, there's a South Park episode of like investing and it's gone, but and it's not going to grow very quickly. But and look, I also acknowledge that life is short and I'm not telling everyone to live the way I live. Do what you want. I don't want to guilt trip you if you like spending money and doing things. I spend money too, but at the same time, it's just finding the balance. And I'm definitely on the more frugal side of that balance, but that's the way I was raised and that's kind of the way I think about things. So yeah, so I just kind of let that money in the retirement account just grow and grow and grow. And, I leave it in the market and statistically and historically, it should return and do well. If at some point I want to take that out and buy real estate with it, something more physical, I could do that. If I wanted to buy gold with it, I could do that too. You could do a lot of different things with a Roth IRA, depending on who your custodian is. But yeah, so anyways, a little bit of a tangent there. But so today is a red day. It's a red day recap, but I'm already over it. It doesn't matter. It's a red day. It's water under the bridge. And I never want to get more bent out of shape or frustrated. Look, this day, I will have totally forgotten about it probably 3 days from now. 3 days from now, a month from now, I'm not even going to remember today. Do you think I remember the first max loss red day I had in 2023? I don't. I really don't. I don't even really remember. I guess I sort of remember my worst day of 2023 because it happened in December. But it wasn't even that bad of a loss. So the thing is, as long as I can keep my losses relatively small, they're easy to recover from. I don't get that bent ass shape about it because it's like, all right, yeah, I was stupid. It was a mistake, but whatever. You got to take risk and sometimes it pays off. So that's life. I don't want to totally disregard the opportunity to learn a lesson from a loss, but beyond that, it's like, okay, let's move on. And if I'm going to have totally forgotten about the trade a week from now, it's not worth spending another minute stressing about it. Just basically mentally already put myself 1 week ahead where I've forgotten about it. And life is good. Move on. All right. So those are my words of wisdom. Reminder as always, trading is risky. My results aren't typical. Thanks as always for tuning in, and I'll see you guys back at it first thing tomorrow morning.